wanted to take a look into what studios are actually doing something right in this new age that's making them succeed this way. And I come up into very interesting strategies from some indie developers that I found fascinating, especially in nowadays. One of them is Strange Scaffold Games. They release 18 games in 6 years. That means they're releasing about a game every 6 months to a year. And their head of studio, Xavier Nelson Jr., who's been appearing in podcasts and events in the last year's ton, is always talking about sustainable development, which basically means iteratively publishing new games and making those games help them build the next ones instead of only relying on publishers.
What I'd say at this stage for me, how I make games is I never want to start a game that I can't survive finishing. A big part of this is because when I started my studio, I'd worked on something like 40 games. And I would talk to friends who had made games that literally changed the industry. And they didn't look kindly upon those games because they're like, oh yeah, that game was great, but it didn't make enough money to recoup, so the team had to come apart. And I was like, man, if a game makes pizza money, I want to build the type of studio where that's still a victory. So we have games that have not performed as well as others. But I built a structure where no matter how well a project performed commercially, for the most part, we could still be happy we made that game.
This way, he quickly transformed his studio into a very sustainable one. Still being indie, no endless projects, no heroic suffering, actually shipping games. Another strong example is the YouTuber and game developer Team Ruswick. His aim is to help developers have a structure where they can finish games and not spend years iterating through the same thing or never doing them at all. I will leave a link to his channel in the description. His message is very clear. Finishing is a skill, not an accident.
One thing I just want to go back to real quick is when you look at this, so many people quit right here because they're not prepared for this phase. This is the old way, remember? So they have an idea, they go into dev, they deal with this giant ball of yarn that is game development, and then they quit somewhere in here, and they don't know why they quit, but guess what? They quit with no launch. You know how demotivating this is? You know how much it sucks right here, dude? To quit, spend all this time, like I spent, like 4 years.
And then we have Adam Saltzman, sometimes working as a solo developer, sometimes with a team or a publisher like Finji Studios. This guy developed and published 13 games in 2025. He's always talking in conferences and events about his approach to making small games. He doesn't rush his games. He just intentionally scopes the games, builds them, and publishes them.
Partly, how to make games better, how to have more fun doing it, because I think that might be really important. Part one of this talk is going to be talking about doing things that are easy and not obvious. Part two of this talk is going to be about separating ideas from formulas and how you can use that to have more fun while you work and work a little more quickly maybe. And part three is going to be about noticing.
All of these developers and studios have different styles, but the same results. They're not relying on motivation, they're relying on structure.